Hello students. So I hope by now, as I had told you in the last class, that your task is to write down answers for comprehension 1 of unit number 11, Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye. So I hope you have written answers for comprehension 1. In the last class, we have discussed answers of comprehension 2. So now we start with comprehension 3. Hope you are writing down these answers in your notebooks also so that you can read them later. Right. Comprehension 3, question number 1. Bowing in Japan is Contd more formal, more oriental. Do you agree? So it is our personal opinion that we have to write, but here is what the author says about it and what we feel also. Both, a combination of both the things we can write down. The author says that bowing is more Contd, more oriental, like shaking hands or kissing the cheek. We never imagine prior to knowing it, before knowing it, that there were so many rules in bowing. So once you get to know the complicated process that is involved in the bowing, then you understand how complicated and difficult it is for an outsider to understand. The Japanese follow it since their childhood, so it is more formal with them. It is more easier for them to pick up that thing. We never imagined prior to knowing it that there were so many rules in bowing. But when we know the rules of bowing as to how to bow, whom to bow, how deeply, and for how long, then it seems logical. So once we understand the complicated theory of bowing to each other, then it seems logical for us, those outsiders who are seeing this bowing system in Japan. In the Orient, men are superior to women. So what does it show actually? Men are superior to women. So in Japan, the wife bowing to the husband and the sister bowing to her brothers, whatever be his age, does not surprise anyone now. So it is considered that men are superior to women. So wife bows to the husband and the sister bows to all her brothers, even if the brothers are younger to her in age. And now, that this does not surprise anyone, the author says. We do not find this strange because in India, even we follow certain rules in the name of customs, like the practice of having a ghungat. I hope you know what a ghungat is. Ladies, especially in rural areas and typical village families, ladies are, having their sari pallu on top of the head, by which the head is covered, and then we call it a ghungat. So you all know that. So that is a way of showing respect to our elders. That is how bowing is a way of showing respect to the elders and strangers whom you meet. That is what it is meant. And the youngsters touching the feet of elders to take their blessings. So generally in our Indian culture, we have seen youngsters bend down actually to the level of the feet of the elders, touch their feet and bow down so deeply that you touch the feet and then take their blessings. So that is our action of showing respect. So we have to agree with the author that bowing in Japan is more pointed, more formal and more oriental. That is how it is. Then question number 2. Describe how traffic in Brazil leads to humorous observations. So, when we were reading through the lesson, I already explained to you that no doubt the author has stated in front of us the facts that he saw in these two countries, but the way of presenting those facts is quite humorous, and that is why it makes us laugh. On a lighter note, he also makes fun of what he saw, but on a serious note, he puts up the facts that he has seen. So, describe how traffic in Brazil leads to humorous observations. Now, the author first tells about the pedestrians in Brazil. Pedestrians are people who walk on the pavements, who travel without any vehicle. People walking are called pedestrians. The author first tells about the pedestrians in Brazil that they do not hurry. They do not bother whether they reach their destination an hour too soon, a day late, or not at all. So that is how humor is created, saying even if you don't reach your destination, it is alright, but there is no hurry. So it is said in a sarcastic way. The grey pavements in the streets of Copacabana are often decorated with beautiful mosaics. Mosaics are type of tiles, you know. The author comments on this unique type of decoration that only the people who have plenty of time for contemplation would do this. Contemplation is giving deep thought, thinking deeply. So he says no one is in a hurry to reach their destination. It's okay if you reach 1 hour late, 1 day late, 1 day before, or if you don't reach at all. So the streets of Copacabana are often decorated with beautiful mosaics, he says. But then who will do all this? Those who have plenty of time to spend, leisure time to spend, right? Regarding driving cars, the author contrasts the behavior of these people that no speed is fast for them. Again, it is sarcasm. Actually, they speed up so very fast that no speed is fast for them. That means it is sarcasm. Two contradictory statements given in one. Though cars are very expensive in Brazil, the number of cars is growing by leaps and bounds. See, again two contradictory statements. Cars are very expensive, means costly in Brazil. But each person, every Tom, Dick, Harry, all and sundry. Sundry means any, etc. Anybody is buying car. So again two contradictions. So the sale of cars is growing by leaps and bounds, it says, means very fast. The author speaks about the plight of pedestrians and the war between the drivers. Also, when we were reading the lesson, we read that the drivers also compete with each other as to who will go first, who will cross the road first. So like that. The drivers commit the most heinous crimes of the road, but they smile at the same time. Again, contradiction. So You are in a way competing with the other person, but on the other hand, you are smiling at him. There is no anger, no hostility, and no mad hooting. So, like in India, if a person crosses you, or if you happen to go close by to another person while driving, what happens? Immediately there will be a traffic jam. Why? Because those two people will put their vehicles on the same spot that they have been at that moment, and they block the whole road because they want to fight with each other, quarrel with each other, and sometimes it ends up in a duel, physically getting involved in a quarrel, beating each other, pulling each other's hair, and so many scenes we can see on the roads. So many times it happens. So they, in Brazil this doesn't happen. That is what the author is telling us. There is no anger. See, even if you are competing with the other person, driving faster than him, going ahead of him, but still there is no anger, no hostility, no, they take it in a good sense. No mad hooting. Like I told you an example, in India what would happen? According to the author, the Avenida Presidente Vargas is the worst place of all. So one place we read about was the Avenida Vargas, which is the worst place of all, where all the time heavy traffic keeps on crawling from this side to that side. It is just impossible for a pedestrian to cross the road and get from this side of the road to reach that side of the road. It is highly impossible. And the author has put it in such a comical way that he says, you stand there trying to cross the road and contemplating the truly fascinating problem. Contemplating is thinking. How can crawling traffic proceed at such terrifying speed? As hour after hour passes without a ray of hope of an auspicious crossing. See, the crossing is called an auspicious crossing because it is so holy that you get a chance to go from this side of the road to that side of the road. So it is called an auspicious crossing. You may witness a scene something like this. A man on your side of the Avenida Vargas suddenly catches sight of a friend of his on the other side and starts waving to him, at the same time looking completely mystified, confused, puzzled, not able to understand. How on earth did you get over there? So, while we were reading the lesson, I explained to you all this, that if you stand on this side of the road and suppose you happen to see a friend of yours on the other side of the road, over the noise of the traffic, you know, vehicles noise, you try and shout over that noise so that your voice reaches the other person on the other side of the road, and then you ask him, how did you get that side? How did you how were you able to cross the road and go that side? And then he shouts across, trying to make himself heard above the traffic. Now he means the other person on the other side of the road, he also shouts back on top of his voice, because the voice has to be heard till this side, overcoming all the noise of the traffic. And then he shouts, it is the other fellow's turn to be surprised by this naive question, and he yells back. Yelling is shouting loudly. Sometimes we shout so loudly. You people also do that in the classroom teaching. When we have classroom teaching, you also talk so loudly, and then the teacher shouts at you, why are you yelling so loudly on top of your voice? So that is called yelling. So he yells from that side of the road saying, how did I get this side? No, I was born this side. So I was born this side only and I am this side of the road only. I never went that side. That is what he means to say. So that is how the author describes that humorous situations, observations are created when we talk about the traffic in Brazil. And then we have the last question of comprehension 3. Question number 3. What aspects of our social life do you think would appear quaint and odd to a foreign tourist? Now, like the author had been to other countries and he saw some different customs, traditions, culture followed by those countries, like bowing in Japan and the speeding traffic in Brazil. So, if a foreigner comes to our country, what would be the things that he or she might feel are strange in India? What are those? Just a common list, you all already know about it. We are just making a list of it and noting down. If you feel I have missed anything, you can add up to that and let me also know about it. So we would write like this: many things would appear strange and odd to a foreigner who comes to India. Which are those many things? Say, like our greeting with folded palms. I already explained to you that we join our palms together and then we greet the stranger or our elders. So that can be one thing which can be strange to a foreigner. Then the sight of a beggar, because in their countries we don't see the scenes that we see in India. So like that the foreigner will feel this as a strange thing. Then the stinking garbage on roadsides and public places. So we have seen all this because foreign countries are so clean and neatly maintained and all those things. But in India you see every here and there mm, things are loitering on roads and people don't care about throwing garbage here and there. So that can be a strange thing for a foreigner. What else? Our sitting down with crossed legs. The way you sit at home on the ground, many a times in our Hindu families, or even any family for that matter, religion doesn't matter actually. If you have the habit of sitting on the ground, folding your legs into the knees, and then you sit, so that can be a thing which can surprise the foreigner because they don't do it. They usually sit on the chair and use the table to have their lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. So and even eating with fingers. So we generally, many a times, most of us prefer eating with our hands, but there that can be a strange thing for any foreigner coming to our country because they use fork, knife, scissor, and chopsticks and those things to eat, you know our dressing style in different states. So here every nook and corner our language changes, our dressing style changes, our food style changes, even the food items, the dishes that are prepared in different parts of different states and all over the country. So they keep differing every now and then our tendency to speak loudly in public places. So this is the basic difference. We don't bother. We just go on speaking loudly. You might have observed people speaking on telephone these days. I mean to say the mobile phones. Hmm? That is put to your ears and people are driving and then they speak so loudly the people on the road, the other people on the road also can hear their conversation. So that habit might sound strange for the foreigners. Then driving without obeying the traffic rules. So driving in India is very challenging job, you can say. Our littering in all places and speaking different languages in different places and celebrating different festivals. So all these things might surprise the foreigner who visits our country, and he or she might feel strange about this. So our customs and rituals in different states and our eatables of different states, worshipping for a long time and spending hours together in the temple. So all these things might seem different and strange and new to any foreigner coming to our country. So that is all about Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye. So I have discussed comprehension 2 and 3 with you. Please write down these answers in your notebooks. And we come to the end of this lesson. Okay. So see you in the next week with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye.